Go in the season, and the Giants turn to their ace to get them back on track. Madison Bumgarner. He's pitched brilliantly in some big games in his career, and tonight he takes the ball for a Giants team that's in a final push to gain a spot in the postseason. 8 games remain, and tonight it's Bumgarner in another National League West showdown next. It is a very warm night here in SoCal. Temperatures in the high 80s. The Giants and the Padres to play Game 3 of their 4-game series here at Petco Park. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller with my crew coach. Dwayne Kuiper will also be along in the middle innings. And the Giants with Madison Bumgarner on the mound trying to get back at these Padres who beat them here last night. But for the Giants, in the win on Thursday and again in the loss last night, and all too often since the All-Star break, the offense shut down. They're up against a right-hander named Jarrett Cosart, trying to get it going again. They have shifted the lineup a little bit. Brandon Belt moves up into the 2 spot for the first time in a couple of years.
Well, and really, it's just a matter of Bruce Bochy trying to get somebody to set the table, get on base. Brandon Belt has one of the best on-base percentages of all the Giants. They need him to get on to set it up for the middle of the Giants order. Right now, the last 7 games, they're hitting 197. With runners in scoring position, they're hitting 130. But even worse than that is they're not getting people on base to even give them a chance to drive in a run. So that is the hope tonight, that Belt can inspire at the top of the lineup. And the Bumgarner's been fantastic. You really don't have to get him that many runs. Hopefully tonight they can get him a few. Last night,
the one time Buster Posey had a chance to knock in some runs. He knocked him in with a long double off the left center field wall. The only runs the Giants scored. Madison Bumgarner. He's 1 win away from 100 Major League victories, having an excellent year. We'll have more on today's starter, Madison Bumgarner, when we return. And the Giants and Padres ready for Game 3 of this series.
All right. Right now it's time for our Ford Right Choice. The new Ford F-150 is the official truck of Madison Bumgarner. It's built Ford tough. Learn more at yourcaliforniaford.com. We go back to May 17th of this year, right here in San Diego. That's where Madison Bumgarner was masterful in a complete game victory against these Padres. A 5-hitter. He allowed 1 run, no walks, 11 strikeouts on 108 pitches. That is our Ford right choice.
Bumgarner warming up. And we're still just a few minutes away from getting started here. Bumgarner up against Jared Cosart. Stay tuned. Back to Petco Park with the lineups and then the first pitch after this. Sponsored by Southwest. Transparency. Low fares. Nothing to hide. Denard Span leads off in center. And then Brandon Belt hitting second for the first time in 2 years. Buster Posey, the catcher. Hunter Pence, right field. Eduardo Nunez hitting fifth at shortstop. Joe Panic at second base. Angel Pagan hits seventh in left field. Ere Adrianza at shortstop. And Bumgarner, the pitcher, bats ninth.
On the hill tonight for the San Diego Padres will be the right-hander Jared Cosart. Cosart, 26 years old. He's 6'3", 206-pounder, and this is what he has done in 12 starts with the Marlins and the Padres. 0-4 with a 5.63 ERA. Look at the walk total, 37 walks in 56 innings, and that really is the challenge for Cosart. He's got good stuff. You're going to see a mid to high 90s fastball with, and he will sink and cut with both two in the four-seam grip. He's got a good curveball from a high three-quarter release, which gives it a 12-6 break. That's a temperamental pitch. If he's getting it over, he can be tough. He also has a changeup. Lifetime against the Giants, 0-2 with an ERA of 10.80. They have been hard on him, and hopefully the Giants can continue that trend. Let's take a look at the defense playing behind Cosart tonight. Starting in the Padres outfield from left to right, it's going to be Jay Margot and Hunter Renfroe. Renfroe with an outstanding arm in right field. Sardinas and Rosales on the left side of the infield. Asuaje and Myers on the right side. Derek Norris, he'll be in the squad, putting down the signs.
Madison Bumgarner getting ready to make this start for the Giants. And the Giants trying to get back on the right track after that loss last night. Here is Denard Span ready to stand in. The Cardinals won this afternoon at Wrigley Field 10-4. The rookie Alex Reyes got the win over the Cubs, and the Cubs' Jason Hamill just got destroyed early on in that game. And the Mets are trailing the Phillies 10-0 in the last of the 4th inning in New York right now as this game begins. Cosart, 26 years old, and he's up and away with ball one, 94 miles an hour. 78 degrees is the game time temperature. And we started right at 5:40 Pacific Daylight Time. People out in the park in the park. It's too low. The umpire, Marty Foster, behind the plate with Clint Fagan, Mike Malinsky, and the crew chief, Mike Winters, around the bases from first to third. And you see the umpiring alignment.
Marty Foster, a low ball umpire, and it's a very steady zone. He's a good umpire.
And it's 2-1.
With Foster, you can earn some corners. It's not an overly huge strike zone, but there is some width on both sides of the plate, provided you prove to him you can throw strikes.
And that's strike two call. Now, there has been some past history between these two, as you see Belt on deck. And Denard Span has 3 hits, 8 at bats, plus 3 walks, so he's been on base 6 times in 11 plate appearances in his career against Cosart. Right up the first base line, Will Myers, and one away. So he fell behind him and then came back to get him. Now Brandon Belt. Belt comes in with a .389 on base percentage. It's the 7th best on base average in the National League, just behind the Cubs' Anthony Rizzo and Washington's Daniel Murphy. And so Bruce Bochy said, number one, he just thought maybe they trying to shake things up a little bit in the lineup because they're having a hard time scoring, but also because Belt's got that high on base percentage all too often. Posey, Pence, and the guys in the power spots are hitting with nobody on base. Just off the outside, it's 2-0. They've got the overshift on. 3 infielders to the right, and Rosales, the third baseman, stays over on that side. So at the moment, it's nobody at shortstop for the Padres.
And it's a great hit tonight. Great night to hit. Very little wind, if any. It's not often you talk about Petco Park being a good place to hit, but it is that situation tonight. Batting practice was as live as I've ever seen it. Not a lot of humidity in the air, and there is carry from foul line to foul line.
Rosales moves over to shortstop now. Nobody at third base. And the count goes to 3-1. There you see how Rosales, who was playing even with the bag and close to third base, but after Belt took a strike with no indication of a bunt, then he moved over to short. And it's 3-2 now.
Just a 3-1 fastball challenge. Ball girl go over there making a play. That a bit. A little too excited there with the bro hug.
Get like the chest bump and the 2 high fives.
Don't chip a tooth.
Belt gets the walk.
We got it. That was close.
He was more excited about it than the guy who got the ball. That's a good friend.
That is a good friend.
Buster Posey, 289 with a 359 on base average. He crushed one last night, and off the bat, I think a lot of people in the ballpark thought it was a home run, but it hit near the base of the wall out in deep left center. Ended up being a 2-run double. And it's ball 1.
This ball was really a pretty good mistake. They set an outside target. This thing goes up above the hands, high, out of the strike zone, and Posey keeps the top hand on it and backspins it right off the wall in left center. That was an impressive swing of the bat.
And that's out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike.
At that point, a 3-0 ball game became a 3-2 ball game, and momentum came into the Giants dugout. And the one thing that happened was Giants went back out there on defense, and Padres scored 4 runs, and that was pretty much the game.
"95 miles an hour with that one.
Cut to the movement, running slightly away from Posey. Cozart's got good stuff. He just doesn't have great command. A lot of guys have good stuff. It's what you do with that good stuff and how you can locate it is what makes the difference in a journeyman to an ace.
2-2. Cozart, who was a late round draft choice of the Phillies initially back in 2008. The Astros acquired him, and in the deal, he was one of the prospects that they received when they sent Hunter Pence to the Phillies. He got traded for Hunter Pence. 2-2 the count. Base hit to right. Belt stops at second. And here comes Hunter Pence with 2 men on.
It is a bit weird pitching against the guy you got traded for. You're definitely thinking about it. Let's take a look at Posey's opposite field approach. He laid that fastball in the outside corner, and Posey just staying inside it. Makes it look easy. Come right across the outside part of the plate. A little bit distorted from the angle here, but it was on the outside corner.
Well, Buster Posey's now 5 for 5 plus a walk in his career against Cozart. Hunter Pence does not have that much experience against Cozart. He faced him back in April when the Giants beat him in San Francisco. He went 1 for 2 with a double and a walk. First time he had ever faced a guy for whom he was traded. And it wasn't just Cozart. They got some other prospects. Did the Astros in that deal that sent Pence to the Phillies. John Singleton is a guy who's still there. Enormous talent. And a first pitch strike. That's the first time he's gotten a first pitch strike.
Well, and he did it with that big curveball. Talked about that being one of the keys of Cozart. It's not an easy pitch to control because of the angle of the break and the size of the break. But if he locks that thing in and he can consistently place it at the knees in the strike zone, he can be tough.
A ball and a strike now, and again 95 miles an hour with that fastball following the 78 mile an hour curveball. Pence 291 average and a 357 on base percentage. Belt at second, Posey at first. The outfield is backed up. The center fielder Margot plays a little bit toward right. It's low again. 2-1. Nunez on deck. And there is Eduardo Nunez. Giants scored early in that game in April against Cozart when he was a Marlin. 3-run first inning against him in that game. And a shot for some troublemaking here in the first inning tonight. And the 20th pitch of the inning is another curve missing way outside. It's ball 3 to Pence. And he walks him.
Easy take.
The 2 walks within the space of the last 3 hitters. And now Darren Balsley, the pitching coach, with the warm-up jacket on, out to speak to Cozart, who's got the bases loaded, one out, and Eduardo Nunez coming up.
You're going to look into a pitcher's eyes if you're a pitching coach, and you're going to make your decision on what you suggest here. You get a little frantic look in his face, and you just try and calm him down. Otherwise, if he looks like he's in control and his focus is good, you start talking about mechanics, slowing it down or picking up the speed, shortening your stride. Every pitching coach will have 3 triggers that they can suggest to a guy under times of stress. And if you're Darren Balsley, you hope one of them kind of kicks him back into the strike zone. Usually they suggest throw other pitches, go to another pitch that gives you a different feel if you're missing with a fastball.
Bases loaded. The infield double play depth up the middle. And he tries that curve and misses high and tight with it. Ball 1.
See, I think that Cozart is a guy that could really benefit from a cutter or a slider, because when that big curveball is not working and adrenaline affects that pitch, you're really left with a fastball and a changeup he's probably got 50% command with.
High and tight with a fastball.
And he has no clue where his release point is right now.
He's thrown 23 pitches in the inning, 14 out of the strike zone, only 9 for strikes. You saw the base runners from first, or from third back to first: Belt, Posey, and Pence. Oh, you got the call on that one.
That was a gift. And right away, the Giants bench let Marty Foster know about it. You don't see many bell high strikes from Marty Foster. I mean, that really is a gift. More of a knee high guy.
So it's 2-1 now. One hop to third. The throw goes home. Out at home. And Norris, with his foot on home plate, he I think wishes maybe he'd moved it a little bit more quickly than he did.
Well, your job is the runner coming down. If that catcher has his foot on home plate, I mean, you want to make contact with it just so he can't get a throw off. And the fact that Derek Norris held that thing on the plate for so long, he exposed himself. It looked like he got spiked right on the top of the toe. I mean, get the force and get out of Dodge.
So Posey to third, Pence to second, Nunez aboard on the force out. Unable to bring anybody home, and here comes Joe Panic. Now it's 2 down in the inning. I remember a few years back, Buster Posey's first or second year, a game ended at Citi Field in New York, and I think it was either Jerry Hairston or Scott Hairston hit Buster after a force out of the plane. Buster was trying to throw to first to complete a double play, and he let the throw loose just as he was hit. And the throw ended up going into right field, and the winning run scored. 1 ball, no strikes to Joe Panic. Great opportunity for the Giants here, but now with 2 down, they need to clutch 2 out hit. 1-1. Panic has been swinging the bat pretty well here the last several days, including a double last night. He started the winning rally in the 8th inning here the night before last with a long double into deep right center. And that's foul. So he's behind in the count now. A ball and 2 strikes. In the background, you see Andy Green, the manager, and his bench coach, Mark McGuire. There is Madison Bumgarner. Wouldn't mind if the Giants got him a lead here before he went out.
Yeah, he'd like about 9 runs to go out there. Mess around with.
Get 9 in the first and then gradually pull away. And the curveball off the inside.
We mentioned the troubles that the Giants have had scoring. 12 runs the last 7 games. Hit 197 as a team. Hit 130 with runners in scoring position. You get an opportunity with bases loaded, 1 out, and you don't convert in the first inning, it could haunt you the rest of the game.
2-2. Up the middle, base hit. Just cut off by Margot. 2-run score. Posey followed by Pence. Nunez stopping at second. That ball hit so hard that Margot almost was not able to cut it off out there in straightaway center. So Panic comes through in the clutch.
Boy, he really does. And this is a hit that is so much bigger than a normal single with 2 RBIs on it, simply because of what it would have represented if the Giants would not have been able to score this inning. I mean, this right here frees the hostages mentally. And there's that bullet that almost shoots by Margot you're talking about. And boy, did that dugout need that. Connor Gillespie going William Wallace on us.
Here is Pagan. The bloop. Base hit. Nunez, a fast runner. He'll score. Renfroe throws into second. And on consecutive pitches, the Giants convert 3 runs.
And Bruce Bochy is not smiling. He's got one thought offensively, and that's get more. Cozart coming in with a little challenge middle in. That's exactly what Pagan was looking for. And they get to add on.
I like your William Wallace reference, by the way.
Thank you.
You just kind of tucked it in there. He was a cousin. It's a relative of mine.
Really?
Yeah. Adrianza, and that's ball 1. 8th hitter of the inning. 32 pitches thrown by Cozart.
Have you ever painted your face blue?
No. No. My uncle had to tell me, he says, no, you're not related to Mel Gibson. It's actually the real William Wallace. Shallow left. And caught by Jay. So he robbed Adrianza of a bloop single. Bumgarner was out on deck. He'll go back in to get ready, leading 3-0. Padres batting order brought to you by Audi. Visit a Bay Area Audi dealer today and get behind the wheel of the Audi model you've always wanted. It'll be Manuel Margot, the rookie, in center field. Then John Jay, the veteran, left field. Will Myers, the slugger, first base. Hunter Renfroe, another rookie, in right field. Adam Rosales, third base. Luis Sardinas at shortstop. Derek Norris, the veteran catcher, hitting 7th. Carlos Asuaje, yet another Padre rookie prospect, second base, and Cozart, the pitcher, batting 9th.
On the hill tonight for the Giants will be the big left-hander, Madison Bumgarner, 27 years old, 6'5", 250-pounder. He's 14-9 on the year. With a 2.57, he has been spectacular. And look at the strikeouts, 241 strikeouts against 52 walks and 213 and a third. And when you face Bumgarner, you're going to see a low three-quarter release with a fastball velocity that averages around 91. He's also got a curveball, slider, and a changeup. Lifetime against this San Diego Padre team, Bumgarner 10-7 with a 3.27 ERA. And let's take a look at the defense playing behind Bumgarner tonight, starting in the Giants outfield from left to right. It'll be Pagan, Span, and Pence. Adrianza and Nunez on the left side. Panic and Belt on the right side. Buster Posey, he'll be in the squad, putting down the signs.
This is Manuel Margot, hit .304 in AAA ball this year. Led all of AAA baseball with 12 triples, and he had 30 stolen bases for El Paso, the Chihuahuas. And they had a really good team down there. Bumgarner throws him a fastball for a called strike. They just finally finished. They had the AAA World Series in effect. They played the champion from another AAA league. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Margot.
I think it was the Yankees AAA club.
Scranton, Wilkes-Barre. There's Will Myers, who's in the hole, due up third in the inning. And now 2-1. Margot, only 5 feet 11 inches tall, 180 pounds. And that's a foul. And he's a very young guy.
He's got great speed, had 30 stolen bases this year. He put some pressure on the defense, especially it's a medium ground ball to the left side of the infield. He'll cause the defense to play in shallow about a step because of his speed.
He'll turn 22 in 4 days. So one of the youngest players in AAA ball. Curveball misses. Now it's a full count to him.
Well, he was involved in that trade that also included Swahe from Boston that sent
3-2 the count. This is a long throw. Well, he wouldn't have gotten him anyway. Margot, a fast runner. Not Toyota by the numbers. Wouldn't it be nice if you could count on everything as much as a Toyota? Find the perfect Toyota for you at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Youngest pitchers at the time of their 100th career victory in the history of the Giants. Hal Schumacher was 24, and Mathewson 24 and 28 days older. Marichal was 27. Bumgarner, if he can win it today, he's 27 and 54 days. Just turned 27 less than 2 months ago. And when Bumgarner threw that pitch, Margot was racing back to the bag at first base.
Trying to learn his pickoff move. Let's finish that thought about Margot. He came over from Boston in the deal that sent Craig Kimbrell, the closer of the Padres, to the Red Sox.
And that one hit Buster.
Right now, as soon as we've seen Margot and we've seen Swahe, we're impressed with those two arms. We didn't see the other two prospects, Logan Allen and Javier Guerra, that were included in that deal, but the 4 youngsters for Kimbrell, I mean, that looks like it's going to be a pretty good trade for these Padres.
And Javier Guerra ended up going to the Brewers in another trade. 0-2 the count. So Buster continues to get beat up back of the plate. 0-2 the count. Bumgarner checks Margot. 1-2 now to John Jay.
That's exactly where Posey wanted that high fastball. Take a look at where the ball looked like got him right in the wrist below the glove.
That is a strikeout. By the way, the official score, I guess, disagreed with me that probably Margot was going to get a hit on that ground ball to deep short. They charged Adrianza with an error.
Well, I think that's the right call. And when you're a young shortstop, you're filling in for a Gold Glove shortstop. I mean, that's not the kind of way you want to start your game. It's not going to do a whole lot for the confidence of Adrianza.
Here's Will Myers now. Hit a 3-run homer in the first inning last night. And the curveball for a strike. Five hits, 23 at-bats in his career, including a home run against Bumgarner. And this year, he's really blossomed. 28 homers, 91 RBIs. And that's out of play. 0-2.
Yeah, he's got great bat speed. I mean, very relaxed grip. Throwback in that he doesn't use batting gloves. He'll use tape, protect his fingers. Likes the feel of the bat in his hands. Doesn't want a piece of leather between it. But you watch him with the bat throw, and he really has a great way to accelerate his bat head through the zone. And that explains the 28 home runs. Except for that swing there. Now this was last night in the first inning. A couple knocks set it up for him, and the first pitch from Albert Suarez, he knocks it over the wall. That'd be all that Suarez would give up in 4 innings, but that was it. That was the difference of the game.
Margot, the runner at first. 1 out. Nolan Arenado of the Rockies, Charlie Blackmon of the Rockies, and Freddie Freeman of Atlanta. The Dodgers' Justin Turner. Those are the guys who've hit the most first inning home runs, along with Will Myers in the National League this year. Nunez. There's one. Panic. Back over to first. Safe.
Not many third place hitters in the National League are going to beat that out from the right side. Gives you an idea of how athletic Myers is. Granted, he didn't have a lot of backswing coming out of the box, but still, I mean, you know, you talk about his 28 home runs. They don't talk enough about his 26 stolen bases, but he can run and he can put some pressure on the left side of the infield. And he can stand up a double play to keep an inning going. And the Giants did everything right on that turn. That's as fast as they could turn it.
So now another Padre prospect just up, Hunter Renfroe. He was the Pacific Coast League's most valuable player. Hit 30 home runs, knocked in 105, and hit better than 300 for average. Renfroe, you see his numbers in the minor leagues. 2 for 8 so far with the Padres. He got his first 2 major league hits last night, or I beg your pardon, on Thursday night, game 1 of the series. And the count is 0-1. By the way, you mentioned Will Myers. He was one of those guys with the Kansas City Royals when they had all that young talent that was coming up through their farm system. Guys who eventually made it big time, like Eric Hosmer, Salvi Perez, Alcides Escobar. They had a whole group of them, and he was one of them. And they traded him to Tampa Bay to get a reliable veteran pitcher to be at the top of their young staff, and that was James Shields. So he went down to Tampa Bay, and he kept getting hurt with Tampa Bay. And he finally was traded here to San Diego, and he got hurt last year a lot. This is the first time in his big league career he's stayed healthy and has really started to blossom. That talent that the Royals saw and the Tampa Bay saw has started to really emerge big time for Myers, and he's just 25 years old.
Well, and that's the point. They asked him to basically learn the big leagues at the big league level. I mean, and that's a tough thing to do to a guy, but it's in respect to the talent that he had, the tools that he had.
1-2 to Renfroe. Renfroe's 24 years old. And that's, you see a young guy like Renfroe with so much promise. He's 24. Carlos Asuaje, the young second baseman, is 24. Myers is 25. There he goes. Now Belt, and not in time.
Well, that's one of those leads where you get way off the bag and you're going to go on first move. Whatever that pitcher does, you're going. I mean, he just makes up his mind. He takes an inside route to be as much of an obstruction as he can in the eye of Belt. You see him swing in, Belt throws wide, and that's just the little window of opportunity he needed to be safe. If he doesn't cut into the grass right there, I think it allows a better opportunity for Belt to throw a strike on the bag. If that happens, they get him.
27th steal of the year for Myers, so he's in scoring position now for Renfroe. Stole that base even though he got picked off in effect.
There's two one-way leads. One is when you get way off the bag and you're going back to the base on first move. And the other is you get way off the base and whatever move that pitcher gives you, you're gone. If he goes home, great. If he goes first, you keep going. With that little veer in the angle that he had in his route to second base caused a wide throw, and he took advantage of it.
And that was the 20th pitch of the inning. So Bumgarner's had to work hard in this first inning with a 3-0 lead.
It's kind of his reputation. He warms up slow.
Myers in scoring position at second. And that curve is low. So Renfroe giving him battle here. Hunter Renfroe in his first go round with Madison Bumgarner. And a foul. So Bumgarner will have to keep working here. Renfroe was a first-round draft choice 3 years ago by the Padres, the 13th overall selection. He went to Mississippi State. We talked about that the other night a little bit. Will Clark's alma mater. Still 3-2.
Jeff Brantley, Mississippi State Bulldog. Rafael Palmeiro, pretty good program.
Rafael Palmeiro and Will Clark were there at the same time.
And so was Brantley. I mean, that's a pretty good team. They got into the College World Series that year.
What a shock. Ninth pitch to Renfroe, and he skies one to center. Denard span, and that's the inning. Although a long inning it was for Madison Bumgarner. 3-0 Giants. Bumgarner coming up. but you can get on deck today for your season tickets next year with a $500 per seat non-refundable deposit. You'll gain access to purchase all potential 2016 Division Series home playoff games. Giant sales executives are standing by right this very moment to assist you at 415-972-2298. 415-972-2298. You can also go online to sfgiants.com/season for more information. Now the Padres have already gone to their bullpen. Left-hander Keith Hessler is into the game now.
Hessler, 27 years old, 6'4", 240-pounder. This is what he has done in 14 games. Spent most of the season in El Paso. He's got a fastball that goes a little bit 90s and a hard slider. Pretty much a two-pitch guy. Out of Spokane, Washington.
Madison Bumgarner, who's got 3 home runs, 7 batted in. He's walked 10 times. And 3 homers and 3 doubles, but only a 152 batting average. Hessler had been in the Arizona organization prior to this. A foul off the right field line and well down the right field line, but out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Go Giants, I did it. Every Bumgarner stop, 33 starts, 33 stops from Milwaukee to San Diego, the Snot Rocket Tour. I love that guy.
Just off the inside, 2-2. And there's all the tickets.
Oh, he's proven it. Gamer.
You think you watch any other games besides just the Bumgarner games?
Oh yeah, we see this gentleman a lot. Great fan. Loves baseball.
Just missing again. Hessler wasn't so sure. Hessler making his 15th appearance of the year. He's got a 4.91 ERA, and he's had more walks than strikeouts. 18 in the 3rd innings, 13 walks, and 10 strikeouts. Left center field, into the gap. Jay will have to chase it to the wall. And Bumgarner will ease into second with a stand-up double.
Well, and Mr. Snot Rocket loves it. They can't walk him, so he throws a fastball in the outside corner. They tried to put the target inside. It goes opposite side of the plate, and Bumgarner jumps on it for a leadoff double. And no surprise. I mean, his batting practice since the Giants have gotten to San Diego has just been beyond electric.
Now leadoff man Denard Span. And it's ball 1.
Giants have to be in the add-on mode mentally as an offense.
Well, I'm definitely feeling that Bumgarner is in the add-on mode himself. 1-1. According to the MLB at bat app, 96 miles an hour off the bat for Bumgarner. Particularly well placed. Perfect spot out there right into the gap. One and 2 now into the crowd.
Nicely done. Brought his glove, made a play. Oh, he went up there right in the sweet spot. Here. Nice to meet you.
Jay gives chase on this one and runs out of room. Right along the left field line toward the corner in this park. The stands come out very close. So he really didn't have a choice in the matter. He had to sort of like climb right over the top of her and jump all over her head. Otherwise, he wouldn't have caught that ball.
Well, he was protecting her now. I mean, that's his job.
I'm going to protect you even if it kills you.
Hessler trying to pitch for the strikeout with nobody out, runner at second.
Span hit a ground ball to the first baseman his first time up. And that ground ball to the right side would work out well here, at least to move Bumgarner over. The hole is opened up on the right side a little bit too. The second baseman Asuaje is pulled over toward the middle. And you get a look at the panoramic defensive alignment. And that slider is off the outside. 2-2.
That's a good pitch right there. When you have advantage in the count as a pitcher, 0-2, 1-2, that's exactly the type of breaking ball you want to throw up there. And you better have some steel nerves if you're going to take that as a hitter, because that was close.
Pop fly. Asuaje gives way to Margot. So a wasted out.
Those are the at-bats right there. When you're in a slump offensively and you're not scoring any runs, the at-bats that aren't productive, even if you make it out, if they're not productive, it frustrates a whole bench. It saps your energy.
Now Brandon Belt. That's a spot where if you're able to move him up to third, then you might be able to get him home without even getting another hit.
That's exactly right. So now Brandon Belt, a base hit here, and everybody forgets about that, but it takes a base hit. I mean, this is how you pick your teammate up. So Belt with an opportunity.
Jay going back into left field and right on the edge of the track. I think that would have been plenty deep enough for Bumgarner to score had he been at third. Had it played out differently, and Span's at bat. So 2 down and still Bumgarner at second. This is where you hope you have your pitcher get a leadoff double. You hope that's the start of something with the top of the order coming up.
Yeah, we watched a similar situation last night with Albert Suarez. Had a leadoff double. They couldn't get him in.
Now Buster Posey. Buster single to right in the first inning. And it's 0-1. And strike 2. Foul ball back out of play. So Hessler gave up that leadoff double, but he's 1 strike away from getting out of the jam as a Bumgarner fan looks on. That's a pretty good seat right there. Looks like the first row of the second deck. Not a bad spot.
It's a great ballpark. They did an outstanding job here.
1-2. Buster had to skip out of the way of that one. Buster Posey has seen Hessler one other time and drew a walk against him earlier this year. Right to third, and Rosales. And that's the inning. So an opportunity not realized for the Giants. A leadoff double. Bumgarner watch the rest of the inning from second. The ultimate driving machine at BayAreaBMW.com. 1969 in a pennant race, late September. Huge game. Willie Mays up as a pinch hitter. The score was tied at 2, and Willie Mays up as a pinch hitter with a man aboard against the Padres.
Here's the pitch to Willie. Swung on, hit deep to left. That one is way back, way back, way back. Well, that's goodbye, number 600 for Willie Mays, and the bye-bye baby bonanza. And the Giants come to home plate to greet him. Number 600 for Mays. He hit it over the 370-foot mark. A standing ovation here in San Diego for Willie.
That was the first year of the Padres. They were an expansion team. The historic 600th home run. Lon Simmons, the Hall of Fame broadcaster, had the call as Bumgarner with a 3-0 lead, and Rosales fouls one back out of play. Dan Spillner was the pitcher for the first year expansion team Padres. The ballpark in those days was called San Diego Stadium. Just opening, and Willie Mays hit a huge home run that led to a Giants victory, which they needed badly, in a pennant race with Atlanta. First year of divisional play that year, 1969. There was expansion in both leagues, and instead of 2 10-team leagues, they both split into East and Western divisions of 6-team divisions, and the Giants needed that win. Ultimately, it wasn't quite enough. The Braves ended up passing them right at the end and won the first National League Western Division title. 0-2 to Rosales. 1-2. Anyway, it was a great moment. Thursday was the anniversary of that, the 47th anniversary of Mays' 600th home run. And he was the second man on the list to reach 600 career homers, behind the Babe himself. Henry Aaron was to follow soon enough, that's for sure.
Good pitch, cut right in on the hands, broke both elbows down. You know, it's funny when you're pitching against a guy who's as great as Willie Mays, when you're trying to get him out. I mean, you're upset when you give him a home run, but when you're retired and Mays goes into the Hall of Fame, there's a lot of guys that are proud that he took him deep. It's amazing how that works as Bumgarner gets his second strikeout.
And I suppose they could tell stories. Yeah, he came up against me and I struck him out. But the fact that he hit number 600 in particular, yeah, I made a good pitch, I thought, and man, he was still so good.
Well, it definitely validates your claim that you played against Willie Mays.
You could look it up.
You could look it up.
Here's Luis Sardinas, and he chased on a changeup. It's 0-1. But the Mets down 10-0 to the Phillies in New York tonight. They got a 4-run 5th inning rally, so now it's 10-4. Phillies were not able to hold a couple of late inning leads. I saw a note, and I think that what it said was the Mets were 2 runs down in the 9th inning, and they tied it on a home run. And then they were 2 runs down in extra innings, and they won it on a home run, a 3-run homer hit by Asdrubal Cabrera. That's a foul, and that might have gotten a piece of Buster Posey again. 0-2 the count, but the first team in history to do that, to hit a 2-run homer in the 9th inning to tie a game, and then a homer again in extra innings to come from behind and win the game. 2 come from behind homers, 1 in the 9th and 1 in extra innings. First team ever to do that. Last night they jumped out early, had a big lead. They were trailing actually in the very early innings, and then jumped way ahead and won in a laugher. Looked like a Phillies laugher tonight until the Mets got 4 runs in the 5th. Now it looks like just a long way to go yet in that game.
Well, if the Mets come back being down 10-0 in that game and win it, I'm going to start thinking that's a sign.
They were supposed to have their ace, Noah Syndergaard. Thor was scheduled to pitch in that one, but he had to be scratched because of strep throat. Off his foot. Foul ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Sardinas. But Sean Gilmartin got the start in his place, and he just got destroyed early on by the Phillies. Syndergaard being unavailable. Time taken. Not that big a deal, and Syndergaard will certainly be available in a couple of days for the Mets. That's hit well, but Pagan right at the edge of the track. Two down, and here comes Norris. Can you imagine a guy named Thor? Because Thor is a big superhero, right? In the comic books and the movies.
Yeah. Thor, son of Odin.
Thor can't save New York just now because he's got strep throat.
Yeah, superheroes aren't supposed to have strep throat.
That doesn't happen. And sorry, Superman can't come out today. He's got a very bad cold.
It's the sniffles.
Derek Norris, the veteran catcher, off the outside. A changeup from Bumgarner.
We better check in with Stan Lee. I mean, he'll have the answer for that.
He will know. I did watch on the MLB app. They had a lot of video clips from Vin Scully night last night.
Yes.
And there was just some great things that happened there. And Kevin Costner just gave a great talk about Vinny, who Vinny was to him. It was a very personal sort of an address. That's into right center field, hit well. Sprinting back is Span, and he's got it. Well done. Norris gets robbed.
Way back, I didn't think he had a chance, and he winds up making it look easy. Star Wars Day right here, or up there at AT&T Park. Your special event package will include a Madison Bumgarner Stormtrooper bobblehead and a ticket to see the Giants take on the Dodgers. sfgiants.com/special events.
The view, there's the bridge, the beautiful bridge leading over to Coronado Island. Off in the distance, we're fairly close to that.
Coronado Bridge. They have a race that goes over that bridge once a year, and it completely fills up with people, which is very cool.
Hunter Pence with a foul out of play to start the inning. Giants 3, Padres nothing. Third inning. Pence walked and scored a run in the first. That's a called strike. 0-2. Pence, then Nunez, followed by Paddock. Giants had 3 runs in the first against the starting pitcher Kosar. They took him out after 1. Hessler came out in the second. 1-2 now to Pence. Hitting .291. And to face the guy against, or for whom he got traded. First time he got traded by Houston to the Phillies, and later the Giants, what is it, a year later, the Giants acquired him. Off the glove of Rosales. It's one of those in-between hops, and he tried to flag it down. Pence safe at first.
All right, time now for our Chrysler Pacifica play of the game. Thursday, Eduardo Nunez gets the 3rd out at the bottom of the 8th inning, and he gets a big old hug from big old Will Smith. Play of the game brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. Takes comfort, storage, and technology to the next level, making Pacifica the new benchmark of minivans.
An error is charged to the third baseman, Rosales. And here is Eduardo Nunez. This could be 2, although it's not hit very hard. No. You get just the 1.
Well, and Pence does the right thing. He cannot run into a tag. The only way they're going to get a double play, because the ball was not hit hard, was if Aswahe, the second baseman, was able to put a tag on Pence and then complete the play by making the throw to first. Once Pence stopped, we're going to have enough time. Remember, Eduardo Nunez runs very well, so a heads-up play there from Pence. Sorry, Sardinas may have caught that on a fingertip.
So Nunez safe. And here is Joe Paddock. Nunez back to the bag. This is a spot where a steal could be tactically an excellent play. He has 38 steals this year to lead the Giants in that category.
Well, that's go time. Get close to 40 bags on the year, you need to start thinking about it, and you know he is. Look out. Well, that happens when you're in a normal stance. All of a sudden you turn around to show bunt. Oftentimes a pitcher will pick up the hitter when he squares like that, and it causes a pitcher sometimes to throw it at the target. The target becomes the hitter. And that was up around the head. When you do that, you take the eyes of the pitcher off the glove, and you become the target.
1-1. Paddock got the 2-out, bases loaded hit to get the Giants' first runs of the game, and he hit it hard, 102 miles an hour off his bat, a shot into center field. And then Pagan followed that up with a bloop single that knocked in the 3rd run of the inning. They lead 3-0. We're in the 3rd. Hessler, now time is taken, asked for by Paddock and granted by Marty Foster, the plate umpire. Giants have 4 hits in the game. Popped up. Rosales into foul territory. So Joe Paddock is out number 2. But I was talking about last night at Vince Scully night, the outstanding movie actor. Outstanding in my mind because he's made some great baseball films. Kevin Costner. But he spoke from the heart and said some wonderful things about Vinny, touching things, but also touched on the movie that he asked Vinny to be in. And it was one of my favorite baseball movies called For Love of the Game. And Kevin Costner played a character, an old pitcher who's just hanging on because he loved the game so much. And it kind of reminded me of you. There was a scene in that movie where he stuck his elbow into a bucket of ice.
That wasn't my favorite scenes in that movie. Got a bottle of wine. He had it all set up for his ex-wife, I think, or girlfriend, and she never showed up. It showed him at various times He finally opened the bottle, then he had a glass, then he had 2 glasses, then the last scene he was icing his elbow in the bucket. It was like, hey, I loved it.
Well, I was in the theater with you, and you said, I've been there.
Yeah.
But he brought up that movie and said about, you know, some of the real life guys like Koufax and Kershaw who were there last night, talking about how it meant so much more to them, their great achievements, because they were broadcast by Vin Scully. The great honor that they felt that was the way it was. And he talked about that movie, For the Love of the Game, and he said where you, Vin, called the exploits of me by a fake name in a fake game, pitching a perfect game. And nobody can take that away from me. And it really, because he asked Vinny personally to be the announcer for that movie. And there's a lot of movies that use announcers. And all of a sudden I thought back to that. I thought, that's why he asked him. He wanted to have a game of himself that Vin Scully called.
Why wouldn't you?
But it was just beautiful the way he put it. Of me with a fake name pitching a fake game, and you called it, and nobody can take that away from me. And he meant it. It was a beautiful moment, of many beautiful moments from the snippets that I was able to see this morning from Vin Scully night in LA last night.
Tomorrow will be Vin Scully's last game that he ever does at Dodger Stadium. He'll take first part of next week off, and then he'll come back up to San Francisco and he'll broadcast the last 3 games of his career at AT&T.
Pagan and Sardinas. That's the inning. Hessler gets through it despite the leadoff error. Bumgarner back to work with a 3-0 lead. You by Da Vinci Marble. Hit your next remodel out of the park with slabs, tile, decorative stones, and more for the Bay Area's premier showroom, Da Vinci Marble, where everything is hand selected especially for you, and the service is in a league of its own. Bumgarner back to work, last of the third. Ball 1 to Carlos Asuaje, 24-year-old second baseman, 5 feet 9 inches tall. As darkness falls over San Diego. Popped up. Posey, he doesn't know where it is. And coming out to help him out is Nunez. And he's got it. Almost overran it. And ends up in the lap of a fan with just the screen holding him up.
What a play.
Well, he saw that Buster did not know where it was. Buster looking up into the twilight.
I don't think I've ever seen a play quite like this from a third baseman. Now, he's playing even on the ground, and he's playing in defensive a bunt. That may have given him an opportunity, but he sees that Posey's not going to get to it, and out of nowhere he comes. And then you see us a few style points as he literally lands in that woman's lap.
He was coming so hard that he almost overran the ball.
I think he expected a little more help from the net than he got, too. What a play. And the contagious smile that he has. And he's been a great shot in the arm of this ball club.
Brett Wallace pinch hitting for Hessler.
Now he breaks back on it. Now he sees Posey's not going to see it. And he comes right by him. There we go. Whoop. You think he has fun playing baseball? Yeah.
A ball and a strike to Brett Wallace. A big, strong left-handed hitter with some power. Margot, the leadoff man, is on deck. Giants 3, Padres nothing. Dwight Kuiper over the radio side. He'll be joining Mike for the middle innings. Dave Fleming is on assignment. He chased 2-2. Meanwhile, that game in New York that looked like such a blowout, that 10-0 lead for the Phillies. Now, after 6 innings, it's 10-6. The Mets got 4 in the 5th and 2 more in the 6th. Runs are cheap in New York tonight, it appears. Off the fist, foul. So the Phillies have got 10 runs early on in that game. They go into the 7th inning and they need probably a few more.
Well, if you're the closer, you didn't think you're going to get a save situation, and he just might.
Genmar Gomez. The Phillies have actually been pretty solid 8th and 9th inning with Hector Neris for the 8th inning and Genmar Gomez in the 9th, but they both had a hard time getting it done the other night when the Mets came from behind. 3-2. Of course, those guys, they're fairly young guys. And it's late in the season. Wallace hanging in there. Most of the Padres bench is left-handed. They have 2 switch hitters. One, a catcher, Hector Sanchez, the former Giant. One, Solarte. The only out-and-out right-handed hitter that they have is Austin Hedges, a catcher. So Wallace, a lefty, brought up there against Bumgarner, the left-hander, here in the 3rd. Bumgarner having a hard time putting him away here. Bumgarner thrown a lot of pitches early on in this one. This will be the 9th pitch upcoming to just Brett Wallace himself. 3-2. And it goes on.
Next pitch, number 50. At the end of 3 innings, you should be 45 or less to give you an idea of where Bumgarner is and how many pitches he's over the norm.
Struck him out looking. The big sweeping curve.
He buckled him. Strikeout number 3 for Bumgarner. And look at Wallace. Buckles. See you later. Marty Foster says looks pretty good from here. See ya. Leadoff man, Margot now.
Giants ahead 3-0. Broke his bat. And a one-pitch out, which Bumgarner needed. Eduardo Nunez made the great play for the first out of the inning on a ball Buster could not see. Well done.
Powered by McDonald's. Get great deals at McDonald's with the McD app. Download the McD app on your smartphone and get great deals at participating Greater Bay Area McDonald's. Visit McDapp.com. On a gorgeous night for baseball here in the friendly city of San Diego. Giants have a 3-0 lead as we head into the top of the fourth inning. If you look at the historical Del Coronado Hotel right on the Pacific Ocean. Have a new pitcher now for these Padres. It's going to be the right-hander Jose Dominguez. Dominguez, a hard thrower. You see what he's done in 30 games. 1-0 with a 4.65 ERA. 31 innings pitched, 17 strikeouts. You'll see mid to high 90s with a velocity in the fastball. It's got a natural cut. He's got a slider and a changeup to go with it. So, as we check out Mr. Dominguez, 3-0 Giants, top of the fourth here to tell you all about it, my pal Dwayne Kuiper.
All right, Mikey, and here's Adrianza. Adrianza decided that it's way more important to get that ankle protector ready, and if you've ever been hit in the ankle, you'd know that is important. And the first pitch is a high pop-up out of play.
How about Eduardo Nunez making that play, huh?
Play of the year.
That was a good one.
Well, you know what? It's a learning tool for especially infielders, that you can become a spectator or you can be aware of what's going on and you can contribute even when the play's a mile away. And Nunez clearly read Buster Posey and that he couldn't see it, and when he read it, he took over. I think the greatest example of that was a play that Derek Jeter made against the A's in postseason.
Now let's take a look. Buster Posey turns around. It's a gray sky. He never saw it, and out of nowhere comes Nunez. Whoop! Hops into it, goes into the stands, and they get the out.
Out of play.
Well, the play that Jeter had to even be from a shortstop position and wind up at home to be in a position to put a tag on a guy that didn't slide.
It was a cutoff.
It's like, oh.
He cut it off and he flipped it to the catcher. And if I remember right, it was Jason Giambi's brother who was tagged
Jeremy?
out.
Jeremy Giambi.
Should never play that game where you go, I think it was this, I think it was that. I do know it was Jeter, though. That's a fact. So Dominguez to Adrianza. Giants are leading 3-0. And this is a soft line drive, and it's caught. Soye puts it away, 1 out. And here's Bumgarner. Well, the one thing the Giants, look, you start to get greedy. You want them to score early. They did. Now you want them to add on. Two things that they haven't been able to do for the second half of the season.
I mean, they had to lead off runner in the second inning. Madison Bumgarner get a leadoff double. And here comes the top of the lineup for the second night in a row. They couldn't get it done.
Well, and then Pence, by the way, they gave Pence, they didn't give him a hit.
They should have given him a hit.
They gave Rosales an error, and the only thing I can think of is the scorekeeper doesn't like Rosales.
Or he never played infield in his life.
Outside, it's 1 ball and 1 strike. See, that's the difference. Our scorers in San Francisco, they all have won a Gold Glove playing the infield. Every last one of them.
Yeah, that's right. Almost all coast in 4 states.
On the ground and a fair ball down the third base line. Bumgarner's going to have his second double. And that's a hit.
Little breaking ball. They played him off the line, and he just beats the defense. Rosales, the third baseman, had none chance. As far off the line as he was, I mean, if he's in a normal position, he may have had a chance at it.
Yeah, I agree. See Bum talking to Mike Malinsky, the second base umpire. Here's Span. Span is 0 for 2. And he takes low and in. It's a good, healthy fastball. As Mike said when Dominguez came in the game, he could do that.
Well, he's another guy with high velocity, but he doesn't have great location, and he will give you some pitches to hit. And he's worked himself into a get-it-in situation on a 2-0 count.
Here's the pitch to Span, and Span takes wide. It's 3-0. Bumgarner at second. See what Span does, 3-0. And he'll take the walk.
Easy take. Well, you need help with consumer problems? Contact NBC Bay Area Response. In just a few months, consumer investigator Chris Kamora has recovered more than $150,000 for people like you. Call 1-888-996-TIPS or visit NBCBayArea.com/response, where every call, every email is answered.
We had Chris in the booth. Remember that, Dave?
Oh, he was fired up.
And there's a line drive into center field. Bumgarner got a bad read, so he's going to be held up at second.
Well, with 1 out, it's better to freeze on a line drive and not score than to take a chance and have it find a glove and get doubled off to end the inning.
Well, look, bad read, good read. Bumgarner froze to see it made it go through. It's not likely he's going to score anyway.
Our goal, pretty good arm. Giants kind of learning about these young players that were in AAA all year long for the Padres as to what type of arms they have.
So Buster's going to hit with the bases loaded. Single in the first and then grounded out sharply to Rosales at third. But anyway, getting back to Chris, he was in our booth. It's great. He was promoting what they're doing. And then he kept looking at us like we've done something wrong.
I know.
He's an investigative guy, right?
Hey, don't investigate us, Chris. Whatever you do.
There's a strike. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
But basically, if Chris comes to your house, you're in trouble.
Yeah, he's not going to yell, "You've won the lottery," that's for sure. Well, 2 perfect pitches, and now Buster Posey, who's scratching his head, is going to have to pull the trigger. One and two. 2-2.
Good 1-2 pitch with that slider. Posey somehow managed to check his swing.
Bumgarner at third, Span at second, Belt at first. The pitch. And Buster Posey just protecting, fouls it out of play.
Yeah, right now Dominguez is shaving that outside corner with some fuzz. Another good slider. Fight off the fuzz and hope you get a mistake.
Let's see what happens here. It's 2-2. Slowly hit. They'll get nobody at second, nobody at first. Bumgarner scores, and it's now 4-0.
Now the Padres going to look at that.
If you're Sardinez, you got to go to first.
You got to get it out. And as softly as that ball was hit, I'm not sure they did get it. Mark Malinsky, the umpires at second base, making the call.
It'll be a fielder's choice RBI for Buster Posey.
Should give us a pretty good look here. Oh, he's safe.
Got to get it out. Here's Pence. Pence takes low. Pence should have a hit in this game, but the official score ruled his one-hop shot off the glove of Rosales an error.
It's a bad call.
And this pop-up is out of play.
I mean, this is a top spin bullet. It comes up to the backhand of Rosales. And I would imagine that Matt Chisholm, who's our PR guy and a good one, he's approached the official score to plead his case.
Hit right back to the pitcher, and no one was covering. So a run comes in on the fielder's choice.
Now Dominguez turned around, and the guy he picked up was Asuaje, the second baseman, and he was backing up the play. But it looked to me, as you pointed out, that Sardinez, the shortstop, he was late getting over. So that's a big mistake, and it allows the Giants to score a run and possibly add on another one. I mean, that was probably going to be a double play.
Well, it should have been a double play. So it's 5-0. Belt goes to third. Pence gets the RBI. He's got 54. And Nunez is going to hit. Nunez spins on that one. And it's going to be out of play.
Now this is where you really try to make that mistake. Hurt.
He will take a good healthy rip.
A view from the park within the park. That's right behind the batter's eye. You see the big television screen behind the batter's eye, which is in center field. And it really has become a popular place for people to come. Now tonight they're going to have fireworks after the game. And if you're watching fireworks, the park is where you need to be.
Nunez with a rocket, and that's a base hit. Pence is going to go to third. Coming in to score is Belt, and it's a 3-run fourth inning. And really all due to some defensive lapses by the Padres.
Well, and that's how you take advantage of it. Giants have been in an offensive slump, and that's the hit they can't get. If the defense makes a mistake, they haven't been able to jump on it. And this one hurts.
So here's Panic. Joe Panic had the big hit in the game, and that was in the first inning. A 2-out base hit with the bases loaded. Here he takes outside for a ball. He's had a good series. He's had in the series now. He's had 3 hits, but he's probably had balls that he's hit hard. He could have 3 other hits. He could have 6 hits in this series. This little pop-up is not going to make him happy, and that'll end the inning. But the Giants do put 3 on the board. 6-0 Giants.
PG&E. PG&E's home energy checkup shows customers new ways to save energy and money based on their energy habits. So learn more at pgne.com/checkup. PG&E, together building a better California.
It's a 6-0 lead for the Giants as John Jay is going to lead things off. Jay, who's got a little ownage on Bumgarner, fouls this one out of play. I think when Bumgarner looks at the numbers, the ownage numbers, I think he only goes as far back as the last at bat that a guy's had against him. That's whether he determines whether a guy's got ownage or not. And John Jay struck out looking, so in his mind he doesn't have ownage at him at all.
Ownage is a funny thing. It really is. And it can happen when a guy owns a guy early in his career, then all of a sudden it flips. I've seen where a guy had like a 7 for 8 against a guy lifetime, and then somebody pointed it out to him. You know, you have a 7 and 8 for you're 7 for 8 against this guy, and then that's it. He doesn't get another hit.
That's right.
Basically, if a guy has ownage on a guy, he don't want to talk about it.
And he got him.
They don't want to talk about it until they're both retired. And that's all they talk about. Believe me, I know.
Yeah, so here's Myers. It is really a good thing that neither of us had ownage on each other. It would have been bad.
It would have been bad.
Myers reached on a fielder's choice in the first.
.245 strikeouts this year for Madison Bumgarner. It's the most strikeouts for a left-handed pitcher in Giants history for a single season. How about that?
They get the ball. The pitch. Swing.
I don't know if anybody on that bench knows that.
Kirk Reeder wasn't on that list, was he?
No.
It's about the only left-hander list that he's not on.
He does have more wins than any other left-hander in San Francisco Giants history. Woody. That's a lot of strikeouts.
Renfro's on deck. Three pitches.
He's got it going right now. Well, okay, did they save the ball on the record-breaking strikeout? Nope. They winged it around the horn. Probably going to be in the batting practice bucket tomorrow.
I love that. There are some guys that would have wanted that ball, put it in their pocket. Renfroe hit a fly ball to center field in the first inning.
But I mean, that's a significant accomplishment when you're thinking about the Giants are 134 years into their existence. And now all of a sudden you just separate yourself from the herd.
Yeah, plus it covers from one end of the country to the other. And this is foul to our right. So 1-2 to the Rook, the MVP of the PCL this year, and he drives one to left, and it is gone, and that's the first hit of the game for the Padres, and it's 6-1.
I don't think this kid's going back to the minor leagues. First big league homer. And he does it against Madison Bumgarner. And let's take a look. Fastball at the belt, and Bumgarner knew it right away.
So here's Rosales. Rosales takes in tight. He struck out looking in the second.
So Hunter Renfroe in the club.
And a strike. Rosales 4 for 17 lifetime. He's got a couple of doubles and a home run in his career against Bumgarner. All right, so this is the guy that ended up with the ball, and somebody will do a little negotiating with him. Can't ask for too much.
Is that the same ball that Madison Bumgarner broke the strikeout record with?
Probably. 3-2. But the only thing that could throw a wrench into this is the guy does have a Dodger hat on.
Yeah, they do drive a hard bargain.
The pitch on the ground. Nunez will spin, throw a bullet to Belt, and that'll end the inning. Padres on the board. It's 6-1.
Next one will change the way you experience TV, only from Xfinity. And Tyler Beatty, this season with Richmond, the Flying Squirrels at the AA level, had 24 starts, was 8-7. His ERA 2.81, led the Eastern League, had 147 innings. His WHIP, walk and hits per innings pitched, was 1.28. That's good. And his strikeouts per 9 innings pitched, 8.2, almost a strikeout an inning. Had himself an outstanding year. And that's our Xfinity future focus.
So Pagan is going to lead things off. Campos is the new pitcher.
Leonel Campos, another hard throwing, a high 3/4 release. He's right over the top. Got a fastball, low to mid-90s, slider, and a changeup.
So here's Pagan.
Campos at El Paso this year in 50 innings had 62 strikeouts, but he also had 30 walks, so he could definitely get a wild hair up his nose. But he does not lack for velocity.
It's kind of the way it is these days, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of velocity down there in the minor leagues, but where you put it, what you do with it, that's a different thing.
On the ground and into right field, a base hit. So Pagan opens up the inning with a hit, and that'll bring up Adrianza.
These are the numbers for Campos at the big league level. 20 strikeouts in 19 innings. But again, look at the walks. 14 walks in 19 innings. That's a lot.
Going to put you in the stretch a lot. Here's Adrianza. Adrianza pops this one up. Renfroe coming in. And Renfroe will put it away. Here's Madison Bumgarner, who's got 2 doubles in the game. Bumgarner doubled in the second, doubled in the fourth. So Campos to Bumgarner with Pagan at first. And Bumgarner rolls it off his foot. And he'll come out limping. He's got protection on that left foot.
That lit him up.
He's going to try to walk this one off.
See where it got him. Watch the left foot. Step.
Above it, huh?
Yeah, it looks like a Schinberger, just above the protective piece. You know what? I mean, it hurts, but it's better to get hit on the shin than it is to get hit on the foot if you're a pitcher, especially your back foot when you push off a.
0-1. And on the appeal,
Clint Fagan, the first base umpire, ringing him up.
Clint Hagan, no friend to Madison Bumgarner.
All right, did he go? Oh no, this is the Schinberger.
Oh,
ouch.
Swing and a miss or swing and a foul. It's a foul. Pagan will have to go back. He's got 2 doubles in the game.
First one finds a gap in left center. And then the second one goes right over the bag down the left field line. First time he's ever had 2 doubles in a game.
Low. So Pagan with good speed at first. Campos to Bumgarner. Pagan goes, swing and a miss. Go down to second, and Pagan steals it. Pagan with his 14th steal of the year. And that'll bring up Span. Span is 0 for 2 with a walk. See Dave Drescher just checking in with the left-hander. And now a conference.
I think with Pagan stealing second, all of a sudden Eric Norris may have forgotten what the signs were with the runner at second. Easy to do when this is the 5th inning and Campos is the 4th pitcher of the night. So from Norris's perspective, I'm making sure, not a bad thing.
There's a strike. Oh, and 1 to Denard Span. Span out of play, so it's 0-2. Giants with a 6-1 lead. Trying to add on here in the 5th.
Well, Span sitting on 49 RBIs. They give him a nice rounded 50.
He's got the right guy at second, runs well.
It is time to get wild, by the way.
Down low.
He's blocked by Norris.
So it's 1-2. So it'll be pitch number 12 for Campos.
Campos is walking off.
He was taking a hike.
Thought he had strike 3 in that inside corner. Did not miss by a whole bunch, but he did indeed miss.
So it's 2-2.
Guys down in El Paso, they were calling that pitch a strike.
Yes, they were. Little pop-up. And that'll end the inning. Giants strand Pagan, bottom of the 5th coming up. It's 6-1 Giants.
Haircut ends with a refreshing hot towel finish, so you leave feeling clean, sharp, and ready to go. Save time, check in online with the mobile app or at supercuts.com.
And it'll be Luis Sardinas to lead things off here in the 5th. Sardinas takes down low. He lined out to left in the 2nd inning. Pitches high. Norris and Aswaye. Those are your 3 hitters here in the 5th. 6-1. 8 hits for the Giants. 1 for the Padres. There's a strike. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Three and 1. And the walk. First walk. All right, Giants fans, next time you want to grab great seats, Giants great seats, get the StubHub app. Not only do you find seats you love whenever you want, you can also find the best seat for your buck when you sort out by best value. Get the StubHub app today. So walk number 1 for Bumgarner.
Well, he's not happy. It comes in a leadoff situation. Last thing we're going to do with a 5-run lead. So you're right. He's not happy.
Here's Norris, who made a very nice running catch in deep center field in the 2nd. Garner about to throw pitch number 76. High and deep to left. And Norris hits one out. And it's 6-3. So the walk and then the big fly. And that's how you get back in the game.
Yeah, that's 14th home run of the year for Derek Norris. Take a look at the fastball out over the plate, and Norris knew it as soon as it left the bat. And that is really the type of year that he's had. I mean, hitting under 200, but dangerous.
There's a pitch inside to Aswaye, who popped out. It was his at bat where Nunez made the great catch behind home plate. Just hit on the ground to Belt. Belt take it himself. 1 out. This was a great catch. If you hadn't seen it and you're just joining us, watch this. It's not a play you're going to see very often.
Buster Posey could not find the pop-up, and out of nowhere comes Eduardo Nunez. Oh. Expect a little more support from the screen, but a play that brought smiles to everybody.
So Austin Hedges is going to pinch hit. Hedges hitting. And Bumgarner starts him off with a strike. Big breaking ball. And just missed. Two balls and 1 strike. So the Giants will see their 4th different pitcher tonight.
When they say Dick Holstaff is pitching tonight, that's basically what's happened with the Padres bullpen.
I beg your pardon, their 5th different pitcher. Get out to center field. Span on the move. Still on the move. Still on the move. And he puts it away in front of the wall. 2 outs. Hedges almost knocked it out. And here's Manuel Margot.
Now, we talked about the carry in this ballpark at the start of the game. It's much livelier than we're used to seeing it. batting practice for both teams today was that was an event. Ball's jumping out of here, and you just don't normally see that here at Petco Park. Normally it's a ballpark that's more fair to pitchers.
So here's Manuel Margot, and he takes a strike. 6-3. On the ground sharply to Adrianza, and that'll end the inning. Walk, home run. 6th inning coming up. 6-3 Giants.
Would it be nice if you count on everything as much as a Toyota? Well, find the perfect Toyota for you at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
(6-3) Giants. And the new pitcher is
Carlos Villanueva.
We knew that.
Big right-hander, 2-2 on the year with a 6.13 ERA. 60 strikeouts, however, against 13 walks. He's a high 80s fastball with a curveball, slider, changeup, basic form. He's a finesse guy.
Belt pops this one out of play. Belt's been on base twice. Guys trying to get a couple of those runs back at 6-3 Giants. Posey on deck. And they got him.
A high fastball. Sends Belt packing.
So here's Buster Posey.
Just the second time tonight that a Giants hitter has struck out.
Buster tonight 1 for 3. I don't know, it took a breaking ball that had Norris caught it. It may have been called strike. Instead, Buster Posey ahead in the count. And it's wide. You're going to miss. So count leverage for Buster Posey. And what did he get?
Changeup.
A changeup.
Pretty good one, too, from Villanueva. But that's what he has to do. He's not going to blow you away with a lot of velocity. So he's got to finesse you. Not give in to the fastball, count with a fastball.
Out of play. One out. Posey at the plate. Pence on deck. Giants with a 6-3 lead here in the sixth. Tap slowly to third for Rosales. And Rosales throws him out. So 2 outs.
Rosales comes right over the top of his arm action. Which, if you're an infielder, that's a good thing because that's going to give you a nice straight ball to first base.
He threw that like Josh Colementor.
Did.
By the way, Atlanta picked him up and he's dealing.
Josh Colementor, who forever has been an Arizona Diamondback, released and, like you said, picked up by the Braves. And he has had a resurgence.
Pence off the end of the bat.
He might be the funkiest guy in the league.
So Pence behind 0-1. Low. Outfield dead straight away. Sardinas, the shortstop. A step or two to pull. Two to two. Trying to get something going with 2 outs.
Trying to get something back after they gave up 2 in the bottom of the 5th.
He got a pitch to hit and he shot it straight back.
And that almost was the one.
Nunez on deck. Hey, Dave Fleming's going to be back tomorrow. How about that?
Back from assignment.
Pence takes the walk.
So nice at bat with 2 outs.
Say this about Nunez. One thing we've learned about him is he will give you a spirited at bat. You don't ever quite know how it's going to end up, but you can do some things. So we'll see what he does here. He knocked in a run with a base hit in the 4th. And he takes a breaking ball for a called strike. Joe Panik is on deck. We're in the 6th. On the ground, Sardinas to second, and that'll end the inning. No runs, a walk, one left. Bumgarner will come out, and he'll face John Jay, 6'3" Giants.
Wearing the number 20 patch on the right sleeve. And you can join us next Wednesday, the 28th. It's African American Heritage Night as we honor Monty Irvin's legacy at the ballpark. Special event ticket will get you a Monty Irvin bobblehead and a ticket to see the Giants take on the Rockies. Go to sfgiants.com/special events.
Here's John Jay. Giants lead 6-3. Bumgarner throws, and there's a strike. And Bumgarner now with 85 pitches. Jay is struck out twice, once looking and once swinging. Right at Pagan. One out.
Had it played perfectly.
And that'll bring up Myers. Myers is 0 for 2. Center fielder's choice, and then Bumgarner struck him out in the 4th. And a pop-up. Does Buster Posey see this one? 2 outs.
Oh, much darker sky, a better backdrop if you're a catcher looking up. So a pop out to Posey would have been a home run and a barn silo.
So here's Hunter Renfroe, who homered off of Bumgarner in the 4th. And he fouls it back. Got a 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, this is the 4th inning. A challenge fastball, and he knocks it right out of here. His home run, his first of his career. So you know what Bumgarner wants to do here. He wants to strike this kid out.
Oh, 0-2. Pitch number 90.
Well, Posey called back foot slider, he shook it off. Called another breaking ball, he shook it off. Called a high fastball up above the hands inside, he shook it off. So Bumgarner clearly knows what he wants to throw.
Low. 1 and 2.
A little waist pitch, perhaps. Something soft away. Looked like a changeup. And that sets up something hard up and in above the hands. Or back foot slider. Oh, like that.
2 and 2. 2 and 2.
91 pitches on the night for Bumgarner.
That's a foul ball. Fair ball. He called it fair. And into second is Hunter Renfroe. I don't know if that hit the bag.
It may have hit the back corner of the bag, and Bruce Bochy's going to come out and take a look. Yeah, I think it hit the bag. It flattens out. I said the back corner, but I think it's the front left corner.
So not much you can do if you're Nunez. Just totally changes direction. And now the hitter is Adam Rosales. And Rosales takes a strike.
Well, he got his front foot down. He was not looking for something off speed. He was looking for fastball.
Down low. 1 ball and 1 strike. We're in the 6th. And this pop-up is going to be about 8 rows back of the Padre dugout.
Getty getting that bullpen going. Pitch count starting to be an issue here.
One and 2 to Rosales. And that's foul. So Buster Posey is going to give Madison Bumgarner a breather.
And it's also going to give Corey Gear a little bit of chance to get loose in the Giants bullpen. Bumgarner with 219 innings on the year.
So here's pitch number 97 on the night. And he hits it to left and deep and gone. It's now 6-5, folks. And Rosales hits his 2nd career home run off of Madison Bumgarner. And this one was up and in, and he just spun on it.
Watch the elbows. I mean, elbows break. And Rosales, who's a very quick middle in, somehow manages to stay inside of it. That's an impressive swing of the bat. Home run number 12 on the year.
So here's Sardinas. So a little ground ball that hits the bag makes a huge difference in this game.
You're right. It extends the inning, allows another guy to get up who's got power and has had pretty good numbers against Bumgarner, and he takes him deep.
On the ground to Adrianza, and this is going to end the inning. John Miller, he'll be back here at Petco Park. It's 6-5 Giants.
NBC's Sunday Night Football and NBC Bay Area improved its over-the-air signal so you can watch using an antenna. So don't miss the action on Channel 11 by rescanning your TV. Just go to NBCBayArea.com/rescan to find out how. We are going to the top of the 7th inning here at Petco Park. Giants on top of the Padres by a score of 6-5. And here again to tell you all about it, John Miller.
6-5. I thought it was 6-0.
Well, it was.
Joe Panic, who knocked in the Giants' first 2 runs with a clutch bases loaded single in the first inning. The Giants 6 runs, which is a huge outpouring for the way the offense is, or compared to the way the offense has been going lately. But it looks like they're going to need more.
Good change up in the 1-0 count.
So it's 0-1 now, or 1-1 to Joe Panic.
Either way, but it's a good changeup tonight. He's been throwing it behind the count very effectively. Nobody's even swinging at it.
Sardinius behind second. And that's all for Panic. He was now 1 for 4. The Mets have been beaten. Rather remarkable game there. The game that saw them trailing 10-0, and they took several of their regulars out of the game at that point to give them some rest in a blowout. And the Mets, with that loss, at the moment a half game ahead of the Giants. The Giants with a win here would tie them again for the top wild card spot. The Cardinals beat the Cubs earlier, so they're right there with the Giants at the moment, pending the outcome of this game. And this game was not, it wasn't 10-0, but it was 6-0 Giants. When with 2 down and nobody on, Renfroe hit his first major league homer in the 4th inning. And Norris, a 2-run homer in the 5th inning. And then a ground ball by Hunter Renfroe that ended up hitting the corner of the bag for a double. And here is John Jay. Pagan is now 2 for 4. 2 down very quickly. And Adrianza will come up. But the umpire started to call it a foul ball. He signaled with his right hand foul, and then abruptly changed the call when he realized that, wait a minute, the ball just hit the bag. That's a pretty good indication that it's fair.
Yeah, Mike Winters, the crew chief, the third base umpire, got it right.
Adrianza 0 for 3. A drag bunt, but off the mound to get it. A one-hop underhanded throw, scooped up by Myers, and that's it for the Giants. Mac Williamson was out on deck, apparently to hit for Bumgarner. Last of the seventh, 6-5 Giants. Pre-game live and post-game live before and after every regular season Giants telecast on CSN Bay Area, authentic Bay Area sports. From the Bay here in San Diego, the downtown skyline, the Giants ahead 6-5. Madison Bumgarner is done for the evening, and Corey Guerin comes on. The Giants once rather large sounding lead. It seemed pretty large at the time, 6-0, is now 6-5 as Guerin and the Giants bullpen take over this game from Bumgarner.
So 55th appearance for Guerin on the year, coming off really a very impressive 2-inning outing in Los Angeles, his last outing, where he was dominant. The one pitch that was so good was his slider. For Guerin, a high sidearm delivery, a little funk to his presentation in the eye of the hitter. He's got a low 90s fastball, hard slider and a changeup. But the way his slider was working in Los Angeles, I mean, he didn't need much else than that. Guys were not picking it up, and he cruised.
Derek Norris, who slammed a home run his last time out into the first balcony in the Metal Supply Company building out there in left field. That made it 6-3 in the fifth inning. We've had a profound view of the value of the long ball in this game. The Padres only have 4 hits total. Good for 5 runs. 3 of the 4 hits home runs. And 2 of them with a man aboard. There's a slider taken low. This is Norris at bat in the fifth inning.
Well, a challenge fastball. I mean, kind of a pitch you throw when you have a big lead. Put the pressure on the hitter. And this particular time, Derek Norris jumped all over it. And for Norris, home run number 14.
Norris having his worst season. He got a big hit. 2-0. Fouled it down off his foot. Norris, even with that home run, is hitting only 185 for the year. Dodgers way ahead of Colorado, meanwhile, 7-0. If they win, they would clinch no worse than a tie for first place. In the National League West. And it's just a matter of time anyway. But they'd like to do it, I guess, while they're at home. They hit the road after their game tomorrow. They come down here, in fact. Foul ball. 2-2.
Hey, man, making a play. Let's go.
This Padres team, by the way, speaking of the long ball, 3 home runs tonight.
Come on, Dad, let go.
That's it. That's what they actually use. It's pretty hard.
Nice.
Wait a minute. How many does she have?
Well, she had a friend.
I have an extra one. And that's a full count, 3-2. This Padres team is as powerful as any Padres team that's ever played here in San Diego. They've hit 172 home runs. And that equals the all-time Padres team record since they began playing in 1969 as an expansion team. There's that slider, foul tipped into Posey's glove. A strikeout for Guerin.
So going front door with the sinker. Not really, Buster Posey not really exaggerating his target. And he's setting up right behind home plate. Just bunch up Norris. And that's going to be it for Guerin. He gets the hitter that Bruce Bochy wanted him to get.
So Aswahe, the lefty, coming up. And with the Giants leading 6-5, we'll be right back. Doing some matching up out of the bullpen right here in the 7th inning already after Guerin got the right-handed hitting Norris. Lopez in to face the left-handed hitting rookie Aswahe. And I think that's sort of a compliment to Aswahe as to how much he has impressed Bruce Bochy and the Giants here in just a couple of days. They're bringing in the left-handed specialist who often is the guy who gets called in to face the top left-handed sluggers in the game.
Well, Aswahe has been that impressive indeed. He's had a big year. Hit 321 down the AAA level. But a lot of hits.
Called a strike.
The 2016 PCL Rookie of the Year with the El Paso Chihuahuas.
Hit 321, and he tied for the most hits of any hitter in all of AAA baseball. And Solarte is now on deck. Brandon Bell going to take it himself. That's all for Aswahe. And now the switch hitting Solarte will come up. Solarte looking to the dugout to make sure they still want him to be the one. And they do. Hitting .284. He's got 15 home runs. But he's been at his best as a left-handed hitter. So Looks like Bochy's going to stick with Lopez. And a nice ovation for Solarte, who went through a personal tragedy, the death of his wife. Been away from the ball club for a few days, so just returning today.
An emotional moment for this young man. And the Padre crowd just letting him know how they feel about him and his family and the tragedy that he's trying to get through.
Two and 0. Solarte was with the Yankees and acquired a couple of seasons ago by the Padres during the season. Base hit. And with the right-handed hitting Manuel Margot coming up, the rookie, Bruce Bochy is going to go to his bullpen again. Six to 5 Giants. Two down, runner at first. We'll be right back. Law has been brought in for the game by Bruce Bochy. Law with a runner at first, a possible tying run, and the leadoff man, the rookie Manuel Margot, coming up. And Derek Law tried to find that groove that he was in before he had some tenderness in his arm that caused the Giants to shut him down for a while on the disabled list.
Well, he hasn't had the same fastball that he had before he went on the disabled list. So when he's right, you're going to see a mid-90s fastball. Curveball, slider, and a changeup. He's had a great rookie year. He really has.
And had he not had the arm problems that caused them to place him on the disabled list, he might have ended up being the closer. That's how well he had been pitching. Manuel Margot, center fielder, with 304 in El Paso this year. The breaking ball is squibbed foul to Tariq Brock, the first base coach. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's a pretty good breaking ball right there. I mean, if you're looking for positive signs, that's definitely one that you should be impressed with. And the fact that he was able to throw it in a 1-0 count, I mean, that's another thing that is impressive. Buster Posey wants to see that one again.
Solarte, the runner at first. That came up and hit him in the side of the head. Ouch. Hope he's okay. Hunter Pence had one come up, hit him right in the face, right beneath the right eye, that caused a huge shiner for him.
Let's see where he got him. Comes up, yeah. Got him in the cheek, break. Maybe even got him in the nose a little bit.
And they showed one on the big screen out in left field, a different angle from center field, and it did look like right up off the nose. Mark Rogow, the trainer for the Padres.
All right, coming straight up. You didn't even see it. Right in the forehead above the nose. Ouch.
So the trainer and manager Andy Green go back to the dugout. Giants up by a run, 6-5 over the Padres, with Solarte at first, 2 down in the 7th inning. Margot has hit 3 ground balls to short tonight. One of them dropped by Adrianza for an error. Now the possible tying run moves into scoring position as that one gets away from Posey.
Breaking ball hitting out in front of home plate. And there's not a catcher in the league that's going to block this one. Once it hits the front of home plate and it takes a different route, catcher has no chance. So a wild pitch. We're going to see a different runner.
And that is the speedster Jankowski, number 16. So Solarte departs, and a nice round of applause for him again. There's the knowledgeable fans here, not only appreciating that he's had a strong year for them, but also the personal tragedy that he and his family have been going through. Up the middle, the hanging breaking ball, and they have lost the entire 6-run lead. It's tied up.
So the wild pitch followed by a hanging breaking ball, and the rookie Margot puts it right up the middle. And boy, right now the Giants shaking their heads.
First major league hit for Manuel Margot. He had started with an 0 for 7. And this came at a big moment for the Padres. And after he had gotten one right off the face that came up off the dirt and hit him. So here's John Jay. Joe Panic throws him out. The damage has been done. On to the 8th inning, and we start over again. 6-6.
coverage on Sportsnet Central every night at 10:30 p.m. CSN, Authentic Bay Area Sports.
6-6 the crowd now. 31,171 the paid crowd here at Petco Park. And Brad Hand has been one of the top pitchers out of the Padre bullpen. Comes in a tie ball game after Carlos Villanueva gave the Padres 2 scoreless innings.
103 strikeouts in 83 innings for Hand against 35 walks. That's good stuff.
Mac Williamson will lead off against him.
And when you face Hand, you're going to see a low to mid-90s fastball, curveball, slider, and a changeup. 4 good pitches.
Jankowski stays in the game for the Padres and goes to left field after running for Solarte. That's a called strike. Hand will be slotted into the number 2 spot where John Jay had been, which made the final out of the 7th inning. He chased a fastball, but it was down around his ankles.
Been 2 different ball games tonight. All Giants early, all Padres late.
And the Padres launching themselves back into the game with the long ball, which is not much a part of a Giants attack. Padres have equaled their all-time franchise record in home runs with their 3 tonight, 172 this year. Again, down out of the strike zone. That's all for Williamson.
Good sinking fastball. And I mean, that's the one thing. If you've got 103 strikeouts in 83 innings, you know how to get the strikeout. And here, in a 1-2 count, you throw something with sink down below the zone, let him chase.
Bernard Span is 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. One ball and no strikes. Span has grounded out to first, flied out to shallow center. He walked in the 4th inning and scored one of the 3 runs they got in that inning as they built up a 6-0 lead. And he popped out to second to end the 5th inning. Span is 0 for 3. Hitting .260 for the year. Two-0. Johnny Cueto scheduled to go tomorrow originally. Bruce Bochy, I asked him if, when he said that Ty Blach, they're preparing for Blach to pitch tomorrow. And I said, does that mean there's no chance that Cueto might pitch, or is that door still just cracked open ever so slightly? And he opted for that. He said, hey, if Cueto comes in tomorrow and says he feels great, he's sure he can pitch, and the trainers agree, he could go out there, but they're just not counting on it. They said at some point they had to tell the guy who would start in his place that to be ready to go, so they told Ty Blach to be ready to go tomorrow. Along the left field line and hits the sidewall foul.
Well, I would be surprised if Johnny Cueto were to throw tomorrow. But tonight's ball game may have a whole lot of influence on his decision. But nevertheless, I mean, they have to get Ty Blach mentally ready, which is what they've done. And if indeed he does get that start tomorrow, he's earned it.
Hawk has pitched real well. 2 3-inning increments in the bullpen this month. High in the air, right center. Renfroe will let Margot. Number 2. And now Brandon Belt will come up. Belt has walked. That was part of the 3-run first inning rally. And he singled in the 4th inning, part of the 3-run rally in that inning. As the Giants built up a 6-run advantage. He also had a huge play with base running. Buster Posey hit a rather slow ground ball to short with the bases loaded, and their only play was at second, and Belt beat the throw there. Huge. It was likely just going to be a 1-run inning for the Giants had Belt been thrown out at second, but he really hustled and he beat the play. How do you give a guy credit for that? Statistically, you just can't do it. This great hustle would have notched the Giants an extra couple of runs. 2-0.
Well, it's something that doesn't go unnoticed in the dugout, and that really is your reward. Get a reputation for a guy that gives a lot of hustle plays, speaks well of you, not just in your organization, but your reputation around the league. And that was one of those plays.
Two and one.
Bad hand having no problem getting in tight despite being down the count 2-0. That fastball right in on the hands at the belt.
Nobody at third base. The Padres have moved Rosales over to shortstop. The other 3 infielders all to the right of second. You see how they play it right there. Got the call on the outside. 2-2.
2-pitch sequence. 2-0 pitch on the hands. 2-1 pitch at the knees on the outside corner.
Posey hoping to bat in this inning on deck with 2 down.
Well, Belt gets on. I mean, Posey's going to hit. There's nobody down there in that Padre bullpen.
Strike 3 call. Second straight at bat where Belt has been called out on strikes, and he doesn't like it. Will Myers coming up for the Padres. Bay Area Giants Television Network, KAIL TV in Fresno, KAME in Reno, KFBI in Medford, Oregon, KITV in Hawaii, KMAX Sacramento, KOTR in Monterey, KRVU up in Redding. Hi, Mom. Winona always watches. KZVU in Chico and KECA in Eureka. Our final telecast in NBC Bay Area and the Giants Television Network for another season. The rest of the schedule will be televised on CSN Bay Area starting with tomorrow's ball game. Here is Hunter Strickland, and it's his birthday.
Well, happy birthday, Hunter Strickland, as he takes the ball for the 70th time this year for Bruce Bochy. 53 strikeouts in 58 and a third innings. High velocity fastball, slider, split.
Off the outside. 1 ball to no strikes. Will Myers, Padres home run and RBI leader, is hit into a forced play, struck out and fouled out to the catcher. He is 0 for 3. Renfroe, who's had a homer and a double tonight, the rookie, is on deck. Nunez got a tough hop, throws out the fast-moving Myers. Well done by Eduardo Nunez.
I'll tell you one thing he's got a whip for an arm. Pitch by pitch sequence, first pitch breaking ball just off the plate away. He comes inside with a little two-seam fastball, gets the ground ball he's looking for, and watch the weird hop as Nunez has to play back. And here you're thinking with the speed Myers can put on a play, this may be trouble. And with the cannon of Nunez, he says, nah, I don't think so.
Here's Hunter Renfroe. A homer and a double in his last 2 at-bats.
One more look from Eduardo Nunez. Backing up. Unloading the gun.
6-6 to score, 8th inning. And that'll go out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Padres closer is Brandon Maurer. And he is warming up in the bullpen right now. Giants in the 9th inning scheduled to have Posey, Pence, and Nunez. So Maurer will come in whether the game is still tied or if the Padres go ahead. And Strickland is trying to keep Renfroe from putting them ahead here. And tied for the lead in all of AAA baseball with home runs this year. 99-mile-an-hour fastball there. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well placed on the inside corner.
Hunter Renfroe at the plate facing Hunter Strickland, and Hunter Pence ready in right field just in case it ends up being an all Hunter inning. Back out of play.
Well, now I'm rooting for him to hit a fly ball right field.
Anything else would just not be right. Hunter Pence will be due up second in the 9th inning, most likely against Maurer. Hunter Renfroe, 24 years old. Strike 3 caught on the outside corner. 2 down.
High velocity paint and a little subtlety. He changes the movement by changing the grip. And Hunter Renfroe left standing. So anytime you can send power back to the bench, you've done a good thing.
Here comes Rosales now. He homered his last time up off the railing of the first balcony, the lowest balcony.
Just a bit high.
He's definitely not getting the high strike.
Well, if you're a fan sitting behind the home plate, this will lock you up. Look out.
Ah.
Hey. That's a bit odd.
A mighty cut. He didn't get it.
Well, he was swinging to put his team ahead. Why not? Count leverage. Let her fly.
He blasted one against Bumgarner, and he has 12 home runs this year, which is pretty good. He's only had 207 at bats, official at bats. One and two.
Yeah, he's just pumping number ones right by him. Sixth inning, however, he did somehow stay inside this high fastball that was boring in on him. And not only did he stay inside, he knocked it out of here. Rosales homer number 12, and that was a 2-run shot that got the Padres to within one.
2 down, nobody on. 6-6 tie. Two and two. Cardinals won earlier today at Wrigley Field. The Mets lost tonight to the Phillies. And the Giants in a battle here, a tie ball game, a game which they once led 6-0. It's now 6-6. And that's the strikeout. And blew another one right by him. Powerful inning there for Strickland. Posey, Pence, Nunez, the heart of the order coming up. 6-6. Six runs, 8 hits for the Giants. 6 runs, 6 hits for the Padres, although 3 of the Padres' 6 hits, home runs. As the long ball launched their comeback, and here is Brandon Maurer, the Padre closer. He wasn't the closer all season long. You see his numbers. And Mike, he's got great stuff.
He has great stuff. 70 strikeouts in 67 2/3. He's a hard thrower, mid to high 90s with the fastball velocity, and he'll 2 and 4 seam that pitch. He also has a good slider. Occasional changeup.
And right-handed hitters are hitting better against him than lefties. Posey and Pence and Nunez are the 3 hitters due up, all right-handed. Posey is single to right, grounded to third, knocked in a run on a fielder's choice and grounded out to third again. That one rolls foul. 1-1 the count.
Well, the girls' weekend checklist: spa, shopping, cocktails, brunch. Waiting to check off a Giants win. This is what gamer babes do during spa weekend. Oh, welcome. You and I need a spa weekend.
Yeah, do we? I'm thinking I've kind of penciled in Monday morning for my spa weekend.
Giants with an off day on Monday. Ending a long stretch of consecutive days.
96 miles an hour outside. 2-2 to Buster Posey. Facing Brandon Maurer here in the 9th. Buster 2 for 7 with 2 doubles. Also a walk in the past against Maurer. Margot right there. 1 away. Now Pence. Pence has walked twice in this game, been safe on an error by Rosales, and he has knocked in a run with a force out. Officially 0 for 2 with a run batted in. One ball and no strikes. Tomorrow's game is a 1:40 start with tie block scheduled for the Giants against Clayton Richard. Pence skies one, shallow center, and Margot 2 down. And now Nunez. Well, he had both Posey and Pence really off balance in their swings in that breaking ball.
Yeah, it's a good hard slider. And both times he took out their legs with the location and the quickness of the pitch. Sergio Romo heating up. If the Giants could get a lead here, he would be in the game.
Base hit. Man, he hit that hard. Second hit of the game for Nunez to keep the inning going for Joe Panik. Panik knocked in the Giants' first 2 runs of the game with a real hard hit single to center. With the bases loaded in the first inning.
Well, this was a huge swing of the bat because it went down to 2 outs and the bases loaded. And for a struggling offense, this really woke up the Giants' dugout. It would lead to a 3-run first inning. So with 2 outs and a runner on, he's being asked to do it again.
And we'll see if Nunez tries to steal second base. There he goes. The throw by Norris. There, out. Nunez hated that call by Mike Malinsky. And the Giants are checking. Bruce Bochy asking the umpires to hold on.
I can see why he's upset. I think he beat it. And they're going to look at it.
Really strong throw by Derek Norris. He got a quick release on it, put it right there.
Well, that's what he has to do to beat you. I mean, he has to get rid of that ball. He has to be very, very accurate, and everything about that throw was perfect. Right on the dot.
It does look like he's safe.
He's safe. This one should be overruled.
But again, it is huge as to what the original call is, as to whether the umpires in New York see something that definitely shows that it was the wrong call. Here's the call. Safe at second. Well, that's what we saw, and that's what the umpire in New York saw.
Giants fans in attendance loving every bit of that. So now the Giants get a runner in score position here for 2 outs for Panik, who's hitting with confidence.
39th steal of the year for Nunez, 5th most in all of Major League Baseball. Now base hit could put the Giants back ahead. That pitch on which Nunez stole was called a strike to Joe Panik. Right to the second baseman. And just like that, the inning is over. Still tied. Sardinas, Norris, and Asuaje due up for the Padres. At 6-0 by the 4th inning, are in a 6-6 tie in the last of the 9th inning, and Hunter Strickland on his birthday back for his 2nd inning of work. And the Padres, who've hit 3 home runs in the game, are going to send one of their best home run hitters to the plate. Ryan Schimpf, the rookie, who's hit 19 homers in about half a season, including one that beat the Giants in San Francisco.
And he's a good fastball hitter. So Andy Green, the skipper for the Padres, trying to match up his strength with what he's likely to see from Hunter Strickland. Fastballs.
It's way up in the air. A long time given for Span to get over there. He was playing deep and toward right center, and there's one away. Just a towering pop fly. So a big out from a dangerous hitter, and now Derek Norris will come up. And although Norris is hitting in the 180s, you have to consider him dangerous. He's hit a home run tonight, helping fuel their comeback. They hit 3 home runs against Madison Bumgarner, 1 in each of 3 consecutive innings. And then they tied the ball game. Bumgarner left with a 6-5 lead. They tied the game against the bullpen in the 7th. And the breaking ball in there for a strike.
Will Smith in the Giants bullpen.
Asuaje, a left-handed hitter, is on deck. So Mark Gardner out there signaling into the dugout that Smith is ready. 1-1.
First couple of games in this series, it was cool this time of night, and there wasn't a lot of carry in the ballpark. Got hot today. It's been a very pleasant evening, but what has happened is it's made this ballpark smaller.
Foul out of play off to the right. 1-2 the count. 98-mile-an-hour fastball there. Hunter Strickland trying to get the Giants into extra innings. Looks like Quackenbush, a right-hander, is up in the San Diego bullpen. against Quackenbush, number 59. Doug Buckler, a former relief pitcher, is the bullpen coach for the Padres. Look out.
97 right past the knob of the bat. You're thinking about diving up and looking for the play, the pitch on the outside part of the plate, and that pitch right there may buy a little more on the outside part of the plate for Hunter Strickland. I suppose they're going to go away immediately.
On the right field line, foul.
So 97-mile-an-hour effort on that outside corner.
Javier Lopez talking to Brandon Crawford. Both of them right behind Roberto Kelly in the Giants dugout there. So Buckler, did he break? He must have broken his bat on that foul ball. You're not really able to leave the batter's box and go back to the on deck circle unless you broke your bat.
Yeah, I think you hit it off of the tip of the bat. 97-mile-an-hour fastball can do some damage on a bat if it doesn't hit on the sweet spot. So Norris, new wood. Here we go.
Struck him out on the breaking ball. Not exactly where he wanted to throw it, I don't think.
Well, his location had some hang to it. So put that down in the scout report. Cannot hit a hanging slider.
Now Bruce Bochy with the left-handed hitter coming up is heading out. The pitcher's spot is due up third for the Giants in the 10th inning. So Bochy apparently wants to make a double switch here. Kelby Tomlinson's going to go in to replace Joe Panik at second base. And Will Smith is going to be brought in from the bullpen to face the rookie Asuaje. An impressive looking rookie, we might add. 2 down, nobody on, 6-6 the score, and they're coming right back. This year, and Smith has been pretty strong down the stretch for the Giants.
He's been really good. The month of September, he is really making a name for himself in the Bay Area with some consistent relief work. 1-4 with a 3.58 ERA. He has been whittling down that ERA every time he's gone out there. 45 strikeouts in 37 2/3 innings. That is another testimony to great stuff. Low 90s fastball, curveball, slider, but from a high 3/4 release. Slight crossover step. Just pitching with a lot of confidence.
He has not allowed a run over his last 15 outings And in those 15 games, he's only allowed 3 hits. He's had 17 strikeouts, a total of 11 innings in those 15 games. 3 hits allowed, 17 strikeouts. And although he's brought in here to face a lefty, he's been tough on lefties, but he's been even tougher on righties. In the dirt.
Saw Kelby Tomlinson in at second base on the double switch.
Tomlinson will be in the 9th spot in the order and be due up 3rd in the 10th inning. As Smith is trying to get the Giants to the 10th inning here. 2 down, nobody on. A strike call to the outside. So Smith will move into the 6th spot of the batting order where Joe Panik had been. Suaje 0 for 3 in this game. And that one breaks way outside. Suaje is the one who hit that pop foul behind the plate to Buster Posey. It was twilight time. He looked up and did not have a clue where it was. Stood there with his arms out to the side. Said, anybody? And Nunez streaked over and made the great catch on it. Nunez gets out of the way, and Adrianza takes it in fair ground. So Smith gets Asuaje. 10th inning, Pagan, Adrianza, Tomlinson. And the Padres will go to their bullpen once again here in the 10th inning, as well as shuffling things up on the infield. So Kevin Quackenbush is the new pitcher, number 59. The Giants will have Angel Pagan, then Ere Adrianza, and Kelby Tomlinson due up against him. See his numbers.
57th game that he's coming into, 7.6 with a 3.47 ERA. Quackenbush will give you a low 90s fastball, big curveball slider combination, and a split. But his curveball that's his best specialty pitch, and he leads the league in beard length. That's a good one.
Pagan's had 2 hits. And the curve is down and in. Pagan singled home the 3rd run. There is Schimpf is now at 3rd base, and Rosales has moved over from 3rd to short. Schimpf came out as a hitter for Sardinas, the starting shortstop, in the 9th inning. And it's 1-1 now to Pagan. Two singles and a steal and a run batted in for Pagan. And now the count is 1-2. Pagan did not like that call. in the dirt.
That is a big league scud. You know, catchers just sort of nonchalantly let their hands think for themselves on those bounces that go way out in front of home plate because you don't know what they're going to do. And Norris put it right in the sweet spot. Not a problem.
Off the inside. Pagan, the bat started to go forward. Pagan sort of like used his whole body to keep it from going any further. 3-2. Adrianza is on deck. Giants have not scored since the 4th inning. They've had only 2 hits since then. And a 3rd hit from Pagan. His 3rd hit of the night.
Now, more importantly, it's a leadoff single. So the Giants get some speed on the base pass here. Now it's a decision as to whether or not Bruce Bochy wants to give up an out with Adrianza. He's not a great bunter.
By the way, another change the Padres made as we look a little more closely around the infield. Amarista is now in at second base in the 2nd spot on the batting order where the pitcher had been. And Quackenbush, the pitcher, is hitting 8th, which is the spot that made the final out. So Asuaje is out of the game now. This is very similar to broadcasting a spring training game.
It's got the feel.
Padres starting pitcher Jared Cosart went only 1 inning, threw 33 pitches, gave up 3 runs. And later we were told they took him out of the game because he had some inflammation in his elbow. There's the bunt. Gone easily over to second as Myers tags out Adrianza.
Yeah, that's an outstanding bunt. Anytime you can make a bunt so good that the only out that they even think about is your out, and give up the 90 feet to put a runner in score position, that's a great bunt. So job well done, Adrianza.
And now Tomlinson in a spot where a base hit could put the Giants back ahead.
Good speed with Pagan at second. You have a good arm in center. You have a great arm in right.
Tomlinson hitting .292 for the year in the big leagues. He hit right around 300 last year in his first look in the big leagues. The curveball is too high. Kelby Tomlinson tried to get the big hit for the Giants with Denard Span on deck. Called a strike. Tomlinson has never batted in a big league game against Quackenbush.
Now, one thing Tomlinson can do, I mean, he can look bad on a swing and beat you on the next pitch. And he looked overmatched on that high fastball across the letters.
Base hit. Pagan was stopped. Now he's going to restart. And he's going to score. The throw to second, not in time. Rosales, somebody called Rosales, and he's had Tomlinson dead to rights. He looked to the plate, and Tomlinson went into second and beat his little short toss there.
So another great 0-2 at bat from Tomlinson. And in the exchange, Renfroe botches it. He throws a one-hopper to Rosales, who looks to home, and he provides an opening. Tomlinson was out by 5 feet. So the Giants get the run, and they get a runner in score position. They get everything they want. That's got to be an error, and it's going to be an error on Renfroe, the right fielder.
And no RBI for Tomlinson because Pagan had stopped. He'd frozen on the low liner to make sure it wasn't caught. Then he went to third. He was held up. Denard Span takes a called strike with a curveball.
Take a look at the reaction from the Giants bench on the base hit, and then they watch this play unfold, and everybody's waving him in.
That's deep down the right field line. Way back there. Adios! Pelota! Denard Span with a line shot. A laser beam into the little protrusion out there from the corner. Just a little spot where the stands jut out onto the field. And he hit it right into that short porch. And now it's a 3-run inning, 9-6 Giants.
They set up in the inside corner, and he just pulls the trigger on the inside location. That's not a mislocation from Quackenbush. He drops the head on it. And for Span, RBIs number 50 and 51. And it goes into the jury box.
Brandon Belt now takes a called strike. First hit of the night for Denard Span and his 11th home run of the year. That feels good. Hits have been hard to come by for Denard lately. They've got the overshift on for Belt. They're giving him third base. Nobody there. Belt has one hit. A line drive single back in the 4th inning. Fueled that 3-run inning. At that time, this is the third 3-run inning of the game for the Giants.
The Giants with 9 runs tonight. I think back in the last 7 games, they'd had 12 runs in all 7 games, averaging under 2 runs a game. So finally, some smiles coming out of the Giants dugout.
Two and two now to Belt.
And the reaction.
Well, that reaction, some pent-up emotion there in the Giants dugout. They've not had many moments to react like that.
Well, you know, you could sense the frustration building. They had a 6-0 lead with Madison Bumgarner on the mound, and all of a sudden in the 7th inning it's a tie ball game.
Deep, but not deep enough. Out into left center, and Margot and Pence is now 1 for 5 plus a walk. 2 down. Buster Posey, he's had 1 hit in 5 at-bats and an RBI and a run scored. And it's 0-1. Well, the Giants with 3 runs home, and it might not have been 3, but Kelby Tomlinson somehow ended up being safe at second. As Renfro's muff out in right field caused a string of advance that nobody would have been able to foresee. Amarista sitting down, throws him out. And that is the inning. Denard Span capped off the 3-run rally with a laser beam into the jury box. 9-6 Giants. took a 1-run Giants lead and turned it into a 3-run lead with his big home run, the only home run of the night for the Giants. And Will Smith is still in there with the left-handed hitting Jankowski to lead off for the Padres here in the last half of the 10th. Sergio Romo is up once again in the bullpen. You've got Margot, the rookie right-handed hitter, on deck. And then Amarista, a left-handed hitter, due up third in the inning. So here is Jankowski up for the first time in this game. Jankowski out of the same college as the Giants veteran reliever Joe Nathan. That's one thing they have in common. One thing they don't have in common is when they were actually at the college. Jankowski, when Nathan pitched his last game at Stony Brook, Jankowski was 3 years old.
But very fast, even at 3 years old.
He was already a speedster, fast crawling champion.
That's a good breaking ball right there. And Jankowski looked a little overmatched.
Jankowski came into the game in the 7th inning as a pinch runner for Solarte. This is the first time he's come to the plate. And he's got a 2-strike base hit.
Smith elevated the curveball just a little bit as it got up there around the belt. Jankowski took advantage of the location mistake, and that's going to be it for Smith. So a nice 0-2 at bat from Jankowski.
So Romo will come in. Margot, the right-handed hitter, coming up. And then Amaristo, although they do have a couple of lefties on the bench they could use. We'll be right back to find out. The 10th inning, and Sergio Romo is in for the bullpen now with Manuel Margot due up, and Margot is going to bat for himself here to see Sergio's numbers.
And for Romo, 37th time he's come into a ball game. Coming over with a 3.04 ERA. He's had 2 save opportunities on this road trip. He's converted both of them. He is the closer du jour. 29 strikeouts in 26 2/3 innings. Talked about our concern about whether or not he could pitch back-to-back days or 3 days in a row. He pulled me over after we had talked about that on the air, and he said, I could do that. I'm good to go. So an opportunity here to get a save and nail it down.
And back to the bag is Jankowski, who's a threat to run. He's the Padres' top base dealer, 30 steals, even though he's been sort of a part-time player, a role player. He's got extreme speed. Slider is popped up foul and out of play. So Margot facing Romo. Romo got the save here Thursday night, but did not face Margot. The first time he's ever seen him, and he's up there hacking right away.
And Romo says, listen, when I'm seeing a guy for the first time, I feel like I have the advantage, and it's because of the no dot spin on his slider.
Too low. One ball, one strike.
When you throw a breaking ball, a slider, you're going to get the spin on the ball is going to have a little red dot that you see, and you react to it. Once you see that little red dot caused by the spin of the ball. But with Romo, he's a high sidearm delivery. He doesn't show that little dot to the hitter. He gets break and he gets great location with that break, but he doesn't tip the pitch. And when you're seeing it for the first time, especially from the right side, you're at a disadvantage.
Well, he fought that one off. 1-2. Although he didn't have to. It was only one strike. Now it's two. Almost thrown him 3 straight breaking balls. So now it's 1-2. The left-handed hitting Amarista on deck. Then the power after him, Myers. Margot, fast runner, had 30 steals in the minor leagues this year. He's out of the Dominican Republic. Jankowski is back. Giants have a 3-run lead. That's why that home run by Span was so huge. If it had still just been a 1-run game, there's Jankowski at first. A threat to steal. Struck him out.
And in the end, the no-dot slider and a steady diet of him sends him back to the bench. Perfect location. And that really is the cost of education right there.
Here comes Amarista. He's been around for a while. Amarista, not a very big guy. 252 average this year. He's been on the disabled list quite a bit. Also runs well.
Yeah, he broke out the gold shoes.
So if you're going to wear gold shoes, you have to be pretty fast.
You better be able to fly with gold shoes.
So likely faster than he's ever been right now.
Yep, you get gold shoes, you got to break them out of the box. But slow guys, they won't even send them to you.
Base hit. Jankowski will stop at second as Pence gets it back. So now this table is set for Myers. The Padres leading home run, an RBI man, and he's the possible tying run of the game.
He's going to look for something in the strike zone early and put a charge into it.
Myers was called out on strikes when facing Romo here on Thursday night. He gets another shot at him, but he has only had 4 at-bats against Romo in his career, and Romo struck him out all 4 times. To third, could be 2. There's 1. Tomlinson to first. 2. A ball game is over. The Giants have won it. And the first time that Myers does not strike out against Romo, it turns out even worse. He makes 2 outs on the play. A win for the Giants.
And it's the first time he has ever seen a first pitch 2-seam fastball. They were pitching for the slide or for the ground ball, and they got it. And what a huge win for this Giants team. And they did it tonight with the bats.
A 9-run night for the Giants. And they are tied with the Mets for the top spot on the wild card, and a half game ahead of the Cardinals. The 3 teams bunched up for those 2 wild card spots. We're going to have more from